We need to talk about Toyota, because right now Toyota has the best reputation in the entire car market, and that reputation is being abused. People think every Toyota is bulletproof. They think if it has a Toyota badge, it's automatically safe, reliable, and worth any price. Dealers know this. Flippers know this. And Toyota absolutely knows this. Here's the problem. Toyota built that reputation over decades. They earned it with simple engines, overbuilt transmissions, and vehicles that refused to quit. People drove Camrys to 400,000 miles. They took 4Runners into the wilderness and brought them back covered in mud but still running perfectly. They handed down Land Cruisers like family heirlooms. That legacy is real, but it's also being exploited. So now Toyota is selling you cars that look like Toyotas, but are nothing like the Toyotas that built the brand. Some of these vehicles will run forever. They'll start every morning, ask nothing from you, and quietly accumulate miles like it's nothing. Others will quietly drain your bank account and leave you stranded right after the warranty ends. And by the time you realize you bought the wrong one, it's too late. Today, I'm going to expose the 3 worst Toyota models you should avoid in 2026, and the 4 best Toyotas that are still built the right way. If you're planning to buy a Toyota this year, this video could save you thousands of dollars and years of regret. Let's start with the bad ones. Worst number 3, Toyota Corolla Cross. This one hurt because people want to like it. The Corolla Cross is marketed as the perfect small SUV. Reliable, efficient, affordable, practical. It's got the Corolla name, which carries decades of goodwill. It looks modern. It gets decent fuel economy numbers. And it sits at that sweet spot where people think they're getting SUV capability with sedan efficiency. In reality, it's a Corolla on stilts, with all the worst parts of modern Toyota engineering. First problem, the engine and transmission combo. You're getting a small 2.0-liter 4-cylinder paired to a CVT that exists purely for fuel economy numbers. It's not smooth, it's not responsive, and when you need to accelerate, like merging onto a highway or passing a truck, you get that classic CVT drone where the engine screams at high RPM while the car slowly, painfully gains speed. But here's the real issue. Long-term durability. CVTs are disposable transmissions. When they fail, you don't rebuild them. You replace them, and replacement costs can easily hit $4,000 to $6,000. That's not a repair bill. That's a death sentence for any car outside of warranty. Toyota's CVT is better than Nissan's, sure, but that's a low bar. The transmission in this vehicle is fundamentally designed to hit EPA numbers, not to last 300,000 miles. Second problem, build quality. This thing is plastic on plastic on plastic. Open the door and knock on the panels. They're hollow. The interior materials scratch if you look at them wrong. The seats are thin. The dashboard feels like it belongs in a car that costs $10,000 less. It feels more like a rental car than something you're supposed to own for 15 years. And here's the thing. Toyota knows how to build solid interiors. The older Camrys and Highlanders had weight to them. They felt substantial. The Corolla Cross feels like they built it to a price point. And that price point was just good enough. Third problem, price. Dealers are charging real SUV money for this thing. I've seen Corolla Cross models listed close to $30,000, some even higher with markups. That is insane. For that money, you can buy a used RAV4 with a proven drivetrain, better space, better resale, and actual capability. You could buy a 3-year-old Highlander. You could get into a Mazda CX-50, which is objectively better built. The Corolla Cross isn't a bad car in the short term. It'll probably be fine for the first 60,000 miles, maybe even 100,000 if you're lucky. But it's a bad long-term ownership decision. And for a brand that built its entire identity on long-term ownership, that makes it dangerous. People are buying this car expecting old Toyota reliability. They're not getting it. Worst number 2, Toyota BZ 4X. This is Toyota's electric SUV, and Toyota does not want you to talk about it. The BZ 4X is what happens when a company builds an EV because it has to, not because it wants to. Toyota spent years publicly downplaying electric vehicles. They bet big on hydrogen. They pushed hybrids. And when the market forced their hand, they released this. Let's start with the basics. Range is mediocre. Toyota advertises around 250 miles, but in real-world driving, especially in cold weather or on the highway, it falls well short. Competitors like the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Kia EV6, and even the Chevrolet Equinox EV offer similar or better range for the same money or less. And those vehicles don't have Toyota's half-hearted energy. Then there's charging. It's slow, painfully slow. Toyota limited the DC fast charging speed to protect battery longevity, which sounds responsible on paper. But in practice, it means sitting at a charger for 30 to 40 minutes longer than you would in a competitor's vehicle. Time is money. And when you're on a road trip, watching Teslas and Hyundais come and go while you're still at 60%, you start to question your decision. But the real issue is resale and long-term support. Toyota is legendary for gas engines. They perfected the internal combustion engine over decades. The 2GR-V6, the 2JZ, the 22RE. These are engines that mechanics worship. Toyota is not legendary for EV batteries. Not yet, maybe not ever. This is a first-generation electric vehicle from a company that didn't want to build electric vehicles. The technology will be outdated within 3 years. The software is already behind. And 5 years from now, when you try to sell it, nobody's going to want a used first-generation Toyota EV with limited range and dated tech. The depreciation on this vehicle is going to be brutal. You're not buying a Toyota here. You're buying a science experiment with a Toyota badge. If you want an EV, buy from a company that actually believes in EVs. This is not the Toyota to buy. And honestly, this might not be the year to buy a Toyota EV at all. Wait until they figure it out. Let someone else be the guinea pig. Worst number 1, Toyota Tundra, 2022 to 2026. Yes, I said it. This is the most controversial one on the list. And I already know the comments are going to be angry. The new Tundra looks incredible. It has presence. It drives well. It's comfortable on the highway. The interior is a massive upgrade. And it is not the same truck Toyota used to build. Here's what happened. Toyota killed the legendary V8 and replaced it with a twin-turbo V6. That 5.7-liter V8 wasn't the most powerful engine. It wasn't the most efficient, but it was simple, proven, and nearly indestructible. People ran those trucks to 400,000 miles with nothing but oil changes and basic maintenance. The engine didn't care. It just kept going. The new twin-turbo V6 is different. On paper, it's impressive. More horsepower, more torque, better fuel economy. It sounds like an upgrade. In reality, it's complicated, stressed, and completely unproven long-term. Turbochargers add heat. Heat kills longevity. Every time you tow, every time you accelerate hard, those turbos are working. They're spinning at insane RPM, generating heat that the cooling system has to manage. Over time, that stress accumulates. High-pressure fuel systems add complexity. Complexity kills reliability. Direct injection is great for efficiency, but it creates carbon buildup on intake valves that port injection doesn't. It requires more precise engineering. More things can go wrong. We are already seeing reports of turbo issues, wastegate problems, and sensor failures on the new Tundra. These aren't catastrophic yet. Dealers are handling them under warranty. But this truck hasn't had time to age. We don't know what happens at 150,000 miles. We don't know what happens at 200,000. Old Tundras went 400,000 miles because they were simple. Naturally aspirated. Port injection. Overbuilt. Boring. This one is not simple. This one is not boring. And I'm not convinced this one will age the same way. If you lease, fine. Enjoy the truck for 3 years and give it back before anything goes wrong. If you plan to own it for 15 years, put 250,000 miles on it and hand it down to your kid, this is not the Tundra you're looking for. The old Tundra earned its reputation. This new one is borrowing it. Now let's talk about the good ones. The Toyotas that are still built correctly. Best number 4, Toyota Corolla, gas model. The regular, boring Corolla, not the hybrid, not the cross, not the GR Corolla. The plain gasoline Corolla with the naturally aspirated engine. This car is invisible. Nobody talks about it. Nobody posts about it on social media. Nobody brags about owning one. And that's exactly why it's one of the best vehicles you can buy. This car still uses a naturally aspirated engine. It's understressed. It's simple. It makes modest power and doesn't pretend to be something it's not. There are no turbos to fail. No complex hybrid battery systems to worry about. Just pistons, fuel, and air. The way Toyota used to do it. It gets great fuel economy without relying on expensive battery packs that cost thousands to replace. The engine is proven across millions of miles worldwide. The transmission, while not exciting, is far more reliable in this lighter vehicle than it is in heavier crossovers. Ownership costs are minimal. It's cheap to insure, cheap to maintain, cheap to fix. Parts are everywhere. Every mechanic in America knows how to work on it. And when something does break, it's usually something small and inexpensive. It's not exciting. It's not going to turn heads. Nobody's going to ask you about it at a gas station. And that's exactly why it will still be running when everything else is in a scrapyard. The Corolla is the Toyota that Toyota built its reputation on. And the gas model still honors that legacy. Best number 3, Toyota Highlander 5.6 used. If you want a family hauler that will actually last, this is it. The older Highlander with the 3.5-liter V6 is one of the best SUVs Toyota ever made. We're talking 2014 through 2019 models. The sweet spot before Toyota started experimenting. That engine is smooth, powerful, and proven. It's the same 2GR engine family that Toyota put in everything from the Camry to the Lexus ES. It doesn't need turbos. It doesn't need direct injection gimmicks. It just works. People have put 300,000 miles on these engines with nothing but regular oil changes. You get real space, 3 rows that actually fit humans, real comfort, real towing capability for a family SUV, and real longevity. The newer turbo 4-cylinder Highlanders, avoid them. Toyota switched to a 2.4-liter Turbo 4 in recent models to improve fuel economy. It makes similar power on paper, but it's working harder to do it. More heat, more stress, more complexity. We don't have the long-term data yet, and I'm not optimistic, but the V6 models are absolute tanks. They're the SUV people think the RAV4 is. They're what the Corolla Cross wishes it could be. Find a well-maintained V6 Highlander with service records. That's a vehicle you can keep for 15 years without sweating. Best number 2, Toyota Camry, non-hybrid. Yes, the Camry is still here, but only if you buy the right one. The gasoline Camry with a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder or V6 engine is one of the last true commuter sedans left on the market. No turbo stress, no hybrid complexity, no cutting-edge technology that becomes obsolete in 3 years. And it's quiet, it's efficient, and it will easily do 300,000 miles with basic maintenance. Oil changes, brake pads, maybe a water pump at 150,000 miles. That's it. That's the ownership experience. The interior isn't flashy, but it's comfortable and well assembled. The ride is smooth, visibility is good, and parts are everywhere. Every auto parts store, every junkyard, every online retailer has Camry parts in stock. This is the kind of car you buy once and forget about for a decade. You don't think about it. You don't worry about it. You just drive it. The Camry doesn't get YouTube views, it doesn't generate excitement, but it generates something more important: peace of mind. If you need a sedan that will transport you reliably for years without drama, this is still the answer. Best number 1, Toyota 4Runner. This is old Toyota, the real Toyota. The Toyota that built the reputation everyone else is now exploiting. Body-on-frame construction. Not a unibody crossover pretending to be an SUV. An actual truck-based platform that can handle abuse. Naturally aspirated engine. The 4.0-liter V6 makes modest power, but it makes it reliably year after year, mile after mile. No turbos, no direct injection, no complexity. Real mechanical simplicity. Solid rear axle. Traditional automatic transmission. Parts that can be serviced, rebuilt, and replaced by any competent mechanic. The 4Runner is outdated on purpose, and that's why it's amazing. It doesn't get great fuel economy. Expect mid-teens in the city. It doesn't have the fanciest infotainment. The interior is functional, not luxurious, and the ride quality is truck-like because it is a truck, and it absolutely refuses to die. This is one of the last vehicles you can buy that feels like it was built with a ruler, not a spreadsheet. Engineers designed it to survive, not to hit a price point or satisfy a focus group. That's why used ones are expensive. That's why people keep them forever. That's why you see 4Runners with 250,000 miles still commanding strong prices. And that's why it earns the number 1 spot on this list. If you want a Toyota that actually lives up to the Toyota name, this is it. Toyota is no longer automatically safe. The badge doesn't guarantee anything anymore. Some models are living off the reputation built by older ones. Some are engineering compromises designed to hit fuel economy targets and price points. Some are experiments you don't want to be part of. If you buy the right Toyota, you win. You get a vehicle that will serve you faithfully for years, cost you almost nothing to maintain, and hold its value when you finally sell it. If you buy the wrong one, you massively overpay for average reliability. You pay the Toyota premium without getting Toyota quality. And by the time you realize it, you're underwater on a vehicle that's costing you money every month. Then that's the Toyota tax. Do your research. Look at the specific model. Look at the specific engine. Look at the specific transmission. Don't assume the badge means anything. If you want to know which engines and model years will destroy your savings, I put together a full blacklist that every smart buyer should see. Click the next video. Do not gamble with your money.